About 2 years ago, I was talking to a literary agent who wanted to make sure that if we were to continue working together, I would have the audience numbers to back it up. Because, like it or not, a publishing deal is a business investment for the publishing house. So a publisher needs to know that you are a good investment. It's actually not that personal. It's just data. The agent mentioned that I should be on Substack. And at the time, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, I've heard of Substack, but I didn't really understand how the platform could really serve me as a writer and a creative thinker. But about a year later, I found my way over to Substack, and I became a Substack bestseller within the first 4 months that I was publishing on the platform. I created 2 new revenue streams for my business. I have grown 18,000 subscribers across multiple publications that I run on Substack. And these numbers, this level of success has completely broken my brain. Now, there's a lot that goes into this. First of all, you have to be a compelling creator, somebody that people would want to subscribe to. You've got to be somebody who believes in the things that you have to say, says them with your whole chest, and isn't scared to put them on the internet. And second of all, I think you need to understand exactly how much dismantling of your ego actually goes into believing in yourself. This is the warrior's path. Believing in yourself is the warrior's path. So today I'm going to share the advice that I would give you if I wasn't scared of hurting your feelings, but I knew you wanted to do well on Substack. Number 1, it's important to decide that you belong in the room that you decide you want to be in. If I asked you to imagine being 13 years old and standing in the doorway of the lunchroom, I'm pretty sure your mind knows exactly where to go. I'm talking racing heart, sweaty palms, eyes scanning as you're trying to answer one of the most fundamental questions that we have as humans, which is, where do I fit in if I fit in at all? Belonging is this thing that we all search for and we try to earn until we realize that it's actually a decision that we have to make for ourselves, the way that you would drop an anchor off your boat once you found a good place to dock for the night. And sometimes you have to do a lot of convincing yourself that you belong in places that deep down inside you fear that you don't. And I think that's part of the journey. That's the fake it till you make it part. That's putting yourself in those spaces with such consistency that they become normal and natural, and they start carrying this no big deal energy around them. So whether you want to belong on Substack, or you want to belong to some prestigious institution, or maybe you want to belong to the kickball team in your neighborhood, the first thing you have to do is just decide that you belong in the place where you want to be. Number 2, there will be so many writers on Substack who are way better writers than you. And that doesn't mean that you should quit. It means that you can get a lot better than where you're at right now. I cannot tell you the number of times I've read somebody's piece on Substack and thought, God damn it, I wish I wrote that. But I didn't. Maybe in some parallel universe I did, but in this one I didn't. But instead of spiraling in despair about how I could never say something as eloquently as that person did, I collect them. I collect the pieces like little coins, like little power-ups in a video game, and I continue using them on my journey as I continue to play my game. That writer and me are not necessarily playing the same game, so I need to stay focused and work on my craft. Use their work as inspiration and continue working on my craft. Number 3, the metrics are none of your business. Nothing ruins a fun brainstorming session like the logistics of what it will actually take to see that dream through. Once metrics and logistics get involved, it's like all the fun just gets zapped out of the process. This is why getting obsessed with your Substack stats suddenly mysteriously just sucks all the life out of creating, because you're so fixated on how many people opened your email and how many people are on your list. And while those are not bad things to pay attention to, when you get obsessed with the metrics, you fail to realize that creativity is cyclical, it's not linear. And take it from me, the more you obsess over those numbers changing, the slower they will grow. So just take your foot off the gas pedal and return to the reason why you were here, which was to create in the first place. I think it's amazing to have goals like 10,000 free subscribers and 100 paid subscribers. But respectfully, it's kind of none of your business how quickly you get to those goals. Your business is to do good work that makes people want to subscribe. And that is an enormous honor. So don't go ruining it with your petty obsessions over numbers and metrics. Number 4, your titles and your thumbnails matter a lot. And yes, that's really fucking annoying. Just getting an essay to the finish line is a huge accomplishment. And now you're telling me that I have to worry about my thumbnails and my titles too? Get in here. I need to tell you something. You are not entitled to anyone's attention on the internet. That's like walking into the bank and asking why nobody gave you $200 for being a big, brave girl and walking inside. If you want people to read your work and it happens to live on the internet, don't judge a book by its cover does not apply here because people be judging as they should. Attention is what you're competing for if you're playing the internet game, and it's in short supply. YouTubers have figured this out when it comes to their titles and their thumbnails, and I think Substack is no different. I think it really matters if you want people to click on your work and read it and therefore grow your account. Number 5, notes are the chaotic good of Substack. Do not get lost in them. The first time I ever heard about Twitter, somebody said that Twitter was a great platform for snarky, opinionated girls like me. But I will tell you that even back in 2011, the vibes on Twitter were not good for a snarky, opinionated girl like me. So I never really did anything with that style of communication until Substack came along, and all of a sudden, snarky, opinionated girls like me had an outlet for all of their snarky opinions, or their humor, or their insights. Notes are this unbelievable tool of growth on Substack. About 95% of the notes that I do on Substack will completely flop. They won't go anywhere. No one will see them. No one will like them. But the 5% of notes that do take off, I've never seen anything. It's like unprecedented for subscriber growth, which makes this type of thing profoundly addicting, which is why I'm begging you, admonishing you, urging you to not get sucked into notes as the most important part of Substack. I say use it to be fun and silly and unhinged, but don't let it distract you. If the reason why you came to Substack was to do more deep thinking and writing, protect the work that matters to you. Protect the reason why you came to Substack in the first place. Because if you're spending more time scrolling on notes than thinking deeply and writing and publishing work that you care about, that matters to you, then congratulations, you're self-sabotaging again. Number 6 is to hard launch yourself on Substack. You have a chance to totally start over if you want it. The first thing that I wrote on Substack was actually something that I had published on another blog. And while it was well written, it was pretty bland. It was pretty vanilla. The second thing I wrote was actually right after the 2024 election, and I was so tired of performing this version of me that was trying to be nice and optimistic and hopeful about the world around me. I was exhausted, and I channeled all of those feelings into a Substack called Now Is Not the Time to Be a Nice Girl. Writing the way that I speak, writing about the things that I care about, writing about the things that I talk to my friends about or the things that are too deep for Instagram, that all feels way more like me. This has been a huge contributor as to why Substack has felt like a much more expansive place than any other social media platform ever has for me. Women have not had this freedom of expression for very long. And I hope that if that's you, that you don't stay in the cage, because the door is open and you can leave anytime. You can write about whatever you want to, and I sincerely hope that you do. Number 7, you are probably trying too hard. I know I was. I have a long history of trying too hard. And most of that is because on some deep level, I'm desperately worried that I'm not enough, or whatever I'm putting out into the world is not enough. Like everything I post on Substack has to be fabulously written and full of value and blah, 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 blah. And honestly, I'm so sick of it because we have an epidemic of women overthinking themselves to death. And I'm sick of it. Writing every week on Substack has actually made me confront the question of what's good enough on such a deep and profound level. Because each week that I publish, I discover a little bit more about my voice, a little bit more about what I care about. Because your voice, your Substack publication even, this is all something that you don't discover until you've been uploading for a while. It's not something that you can really know before you begin. Your voice, the way that you write, the things that you write about, this all comes because you make a commitment to be more yourself, not who you think that you need to be. This is not something that you can know or have before you begin putting in the work. As Julia Cameron says in The Artist's Way, that is just the fantasy of the uninitiated. And number 8, Please ignore the Substack growth people. We have an epidemic of coaches coaching coaches, and Substack, unfortunately, is not exempt. I mean, of course, these people will have huge growth. They're going to tell you how to have huge growth. This, my sweet angel, is something I like to call the perpetual research phase, the phase of the process that feels like it's productive because you're learning about all the tips and the techniques. But guess what you're not doing? You're not putting in the hours. You're not doing the work. You're not making the mistakes. You're not learning by doing. And learning by doing is always spectacularly going to be the better long-term growth strategy. So please be wary of anybody who's telling you how to grow on Substack. It is my intention only to share the hard-earned lessons that I have gotten, but ultimately you are going to have to decide what is right for you. Number 9, the system that you use to write your posts for Substack will either be your greatest asset or your biggest downfall. If you are writing one idea in Notion and one idea in a notes app and another one on your notebook, it's going to be hard for you to track down where you had those ideas and what exactly you want to do with them. So I recommend having one place. For me, it's Notion. I have one database that helps me keep track of all my ideas. And I have created a pipeline in terms of what I'm actively working on and what was just kind of a random idea I might want to go pick up later. I am currently doing a 52-week series on Substack, and I'm about to upload week 26. And the only way that I have been consistent is to have a good system to help me keep my thoughts organized. Oh, and one more thing on that is to please don't try to design the perfect system before you begin. Look at the one you're already using or all of the ones that you're already using and start narrowing in based off of what's already working for you rather than trying to reinvent the wheel and interrupt the parts that actually are working for you right now. And then finally, number 10 is that if you want to write interesting things in interesting ways and get better as a writer, you're going to have to prioritize having an interesting life. And this does mean having more discernment around your screen time and spending more time out in your immediate community and not so isolated and alone all the time. You are going to have to go out and live your life instead of just dreaming about the one day in which you will feel like you can, because that more than anything is going to inform the depth and beauty of you as a writer. So if you want to write interesting things, you're going to have to go live an interesting life. Okay, that's it for my 10 things. If you are serious about Substack and you are spinning your little wheels around all of the details that you need to get in line before you begin, I actually have a course called Substack School for Creative Overthinkers. Okay, it is designed for the girls who have a million ideas, but nothing solid. This course gets into branding, marketing, actual ideas about what matters on Substack, similar to what I laid out here in this video. This course gets into what will grow your publication, how you can actually use it to support your business and actually make you money. But mostly this course is about you designing something that feels exciting and alive and aligned for you as a creative being. It's $89. It's called Substack School for Creative Overthinkers. I will leave a link for it down in the show notes, but I think you're really going to love it. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one.